Hi and welcome back to my channel, and if it's your first time here then welcome. My name's Simone. Today I thought I would do a 35-week update. Is it 35 or 36? Guys, I'm really sorry but I don't even remember what it is, whether it's 35 or 36, but obviously in the box I'll have it. My head's just all over the place at the moment, to be honest. I had my appointment with the new consultant last week. I went to the hospital on the Thursday and the appointment was down for 10:40 and we only got seen at about, say, 1 o'clock. So Ryan, he took the kids and kept them occupied, thankfully, most of the time. And then when I got called in, it was a senior obstetrician, so it wasn't the actual consultant, who's a woman that I'd be having. Now, I went in there, I think the week before I told you that, the midwives that I'd met, they were fantastic, really supportive, and said that the new head of midwives was really supportive of home births. So I went in there feeling quite positive, and to be honest, I don't want this to be like a doom and gloom type of video, but it kind of threw me a little bit, and all of the emotions and everything from my first labour, if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link below. It just all came flooded back. My iron levels had dropped slightly to 99, and I remember telling you guys that, you know, I was feeling quite fatigued and I didn't think I'd been taking the iron at the right times of the day, and I think maybe sometimes I'd not been having it on an empty stomach, so that probably impacted it. So he suggested that if my iron levels don't go up, that I should have an iron infusion. I think it's called, like an injection. So I said, is there a chance that it could go up, obviously, if I make sure that I'm consistent with the Spartone. He didn't really look fondly on Spartone. He said, no, you need to have these types of iron tablets, even though I explained that when I've had them before, I never had, you know, I was having the constipation and everything, and stomach upsets, and the iron levels weren't going up very quickly with Caleb, whereas the Spartonic worked. He was having none of that really. So I had a blood test, and he basically said, obviously he's an obstetrician, so he's gonna see the risks, and he basically doesn't support having a home birth. It wasn't clear whether he even supported me having a natural birth in hospital. I wasn't sure because he never really touched on that. So the experience with him and the consultant, like my old one who I told you about, is amazing and was supportive of the home birth, natural births, everything, was just completely different. So he checked the baby's heartbeat, everything was fine. And then he asked me to have a growth scan this week. Again, he didn't say why, or was there concern with the size of the baby. He didn't really go into detail. So to be honest, we went away from there feeling like, right, what's going on? We've still not spoken to the head of midwifery to see if the home birth can go ahead or not. And it just like I said, it was just a really, we just went away from there not knowing what's going to happen, no care plan in place. So I rang up the head of midwifery's secretary on Friday, and she said that they didn't have a contact telephone number, so that's why she's not been in touch. So I gave my number. Didn't hear anything yesterday. Today's Tuesday, so I said, so I this morning I was just the health visitor came round and I was speaking to her about it. And just all the emotions and everything, like obviously with me being so far along now, like I'm 36 weeks pregnant, just all the emotions and everything from the first birth, and you know, me just wanting to make sure that it's not about, there was a comment left, quite a negative comment left on one of the videos about how I'm selfish because I just want an experience, and if the baby dies in the vaginal passage, are you going to be like, oh, at least I got a natural birth? It's not about that. It's about obviously your individual experience, the research that you've done, the talks that you have with your consultant and everything when it comes down to safety. And I personally just feel like the safest place for me is at home. and I don't want to risk having another C-section because of all the risks involved with that. And if there isn't any health issues, then obviously I'd rather be in a home environment supported by the 2 midwives than being in hospital. Do you know what I mean? So it's not about, oh, I just want this lovely flowery birthing experience. That's kind of like a what's the word, like a secondary to making sure that the baby's safe, that I'm safe, and that everything goes well. I rang the hospital and I spoke to a midwife, and she said, is it Simone? Oh, you know, we've heard about you and everything, so I'm hoping that it's not anything bad. But and so I was telling her everything, and then I don't know why, like I said, it was just the emotions. I just broke down crying on the phone, just saying, you know, I'm so close now to giving birth. I don't know if I ring up, am I gonna have midwives come out, or am I gonna have to go in hospital or whatever? Like, I've just got this fear. Even before I had my son, my first birth, I had this fear of hospitals, which I really need to try and overcome. But my body just shuts down when I'm in there. Like, even I was talking to my husband about it when I had my daughter. My contractions were steady, but because Caleb was there and he was panicking, as soon as he left the house, the contractions just ramped up. So it really does, I've read about it, but it really does make a difference, the environment that you're in and the people that you're surrounded by, whether whether your contractions are going to maintain being strong and everything. So I explained the whole situation to her and what happened when I spoke to the doctor last week, and she just suggested that I come in on Thursday. She was going to try and push for the head of midwifery to ring me, and she said they probably want to have the growth scan to see whether the baby's on the small side or the big side, so that they can come up with something like a plan of action, because she said some of the midwives will be happy to come out, some won't. They've only just started home births recently after like a 3 or 4 year break, so under the old criteria I wouldn't be eligible for a home birth. But now, you know, if there's the midwives in place and you know, they're not, say, like, understaffed, or they've got loads of births going on that day, then they would be able to come out. So she said if you can come in, we'll check what your iron levels are and check the growth of the baby, and then come up with a plan either way, if you have to come in or you have to be at home. But she said if you do come in, we'll try to keep things to a minimum. You don't need to be strapped to the bed on monitors, and we can make it as homely as possible. So I think when I do go in, I'd like them, if there's a possibility for maybe to have a look around the maternity unit, so that at least I know if I do have to go in, then I'm familiar with the surroundings. So I felt a lot better off the back of that conversation, so I'll be updating you next week to let you know what's going on. But I'd be really interested to know if any of you ladies, if you're experienced this, or if you've ever experienced this before, or just it'd be real. Obviously, I've noticed there's a lot more people watching the videos now, and I'd really like to know how are you getting on with your pregnancies, if you're pregnant. So yeah, please leave me a comment, it'd be fantastic. The symptoms wise, like I said, my emotions, I'm up and down a bit like a yo-yo. I have been feeling quite fatigued, but I've been having the Spartone on an empty stomach in the morning, and it seems to be really, really helping. I finally found my hypnobirthing CDs, so I've been listening to them, but honestly they're so relaxing. I get probably not even halfway through it and I'm just like zonked out. Like today I was doing it and Ryan was watching the kids, and then within 15 minutes I was like flat out asleep. So I'm doing the hypnobirthing, I've blown up the yoga ball, so I've started bouncing around on that. Been walking a lot more, and been feeling a lot of pressure more down like in the pelvis, a lot more Braxton Hicks contractions, getting a lot more stronger. And anything else, nausea still coming and going, still throwing up like most mornings, just thirsty a lot, just drinking loads and loads and loads. It's not particularly hot here, I just really just am really thirsty, but I'm trying not to drink too late in the night because I'm getting up even more in the night times to go to the toilet now, so it's really interrupting my sleep. I would say, I don't know if any of you women have experienced this before, but them pink liver spots, I've had them before because of a stupid decision that I made ages ago, which I'm going to make a separate video on. About 10 years ago, I had a go with tanning injections, which really brought out a lot. I mean, I didn't have all these types of things on my skin before doing the tanning injections, but they brought out liver spots as well. But I've noticed that since I've been pregnant, it feels like these. So this is, you don't know what I'm talking about, like that red spot there. I've got quite a lot of them in the, like, on the belly as well. And oh, I'm getting stretch marks now. I did get stretch marks with the two other pregnancies. And then my belly, like I've said to you before, it takes me quite a lot of time to lose the weight after. So I did have quite a bit of stretch marks anyway. But I just noticed that quite a few like come. So when I show you the bump, you'll be able to see what the stretch marks look like. But another thing as well, which I want to speak to him on Thursday about, but I've heard that this is normal. I've not put any weight on for, I'd say, about 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if it's because I put loads of weight on in the beginning. I think like 40 pounds in total I've put on. But my bump's still growing. They measured it last week and I was on 35 weeks, which I was. I'll speak to the doctors on Thursday and let you know whether there's any concerns. So I'll show you the bump and then I'll get going. But if you do have any questions or comments, then please comment down below. But once again, I'm sorry if my energy is not as like bubbly as usual, or if you think I'm crazy for wanting a home birth and everything, but I hope in my previous videos, the two birth experience videos, and I think in my introductory video as well, I hope that kind of answers questions on why I'm wanting to have the home birth. But if you do have any questions, then please let me know. But it would be so fantastic if it could be, you know, like at least a bit kind. I'm in a bit of an emotional, fragile state, and reading that I'm a selfish cow or whatever, it's not really constructive if you're trying to present information that's going to help me and like the baby, for example. So yeah, it would be really, really awesome if any of you got any feedback. So I'll show you the bump and then I'll get going. So I'll just move the camera. Don't know if you can see, I've got quite a few stretch marks now. I'm quite low down there now. So there's the bump. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please can you give it a thumbs up, and if you've not already subscribed and you like this video and you want to see more, then please will you click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.